At Thanksgiving dinner, my father raised his glass and called me his greatest disappointment. 3 weeks later, he wouldn't stop calling me. Welcome, guys. It's been long. We post a new story here. I'll be sharing a story about family betrayal, how it unfolded, the pain it caused, and the consequences that followed. The smell of roasted turkey filled the room when my father raised his glass, smiling like he was about to give one of those speeches people record and replay for years. Hey, race to my greatest disappointment. My 32-year-old son who still can't even pay his own rent and feeding. The table exploded with laughter. The kind that lingers a little too long. The kind that tells you it wasn't really a joke. I didn't smile. My mother didn't even try to soften it. She just shook her head like she had been waiting for this moment. Honestly, we should have stopped after 2 kids. More laughter, louder this time. My older brother, Alistair, leaned toward his pregnant girlfriend, but made sure his voice carried across the table. Good thing our kids won't end up like him. My aunt, Maribel, added the final touch, smiling like she was offering wisdom. You had so much potential as a kid. Where did it all go wrong? Forks clinked against plates, glasses tapped lightly, and for a moment, I realized something I probably should have accepted years ago. None of them saw me as family anymore. Just a story to laugh at. I finished my meal quietly. No rush, no reaction. Just chewing, swallowing, letting every word settle somewhere deeper than anger. When I was done, I picked up my jacket, stood up slowly, and looked at each of them one by one. Not with anger, not with pain, just clarity. Before Christmas comes, I said calmly, every one of you will be asking me for forgiveness. They laughed again, even louder. That was the last time they would laugh at me like that. My name is Callan Reeves. I'm 32 years old, man, and what none of them knew was that I hadn't been struggling for the past year. I had been building something. Quietly, carefully, deliberately. While they were busy measuring my worth by rent receipts and surface appearances, I had been working behind the scenes as a forensic financial analyst for a private firm that specialized in uncovering internal fraud within mid-sized corporations. And the biggest case I had ever worked on was already tied to my own family. 3 months before that dinner, I was assigned to audit a logistics company called Norvale Distribution. On paper, everything looked clean, but the numbers told a different story. Small inconsistencies, repeated over time, transactions that didn't quite match, invoices that existed without real services behind them. It wasn't sloppy, it was careful, which made it dangerous. Then I saw a name. Alistair Reeves. My brother. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Then I saw another. Maribel Reeves. My aunt. And then the final one that made me sit back in my chair and stare at the screen for longer than I should have. A shell vendor tied to multiple fraudulent transfers. Registered under a name I recognized immediately. My father. Rowan Reeves. I didn't react. Didn't call, didn't confront. I did what I do best. I watched. I documented everything, timestamps, emails, fake vendor accounts, inflated contracts, internal approvals that looped back to the same 3 names. It was organized, a family operation. They had been siphoning money out of that company for years. Millions of dollars. And the worst part? They thought they were untouchable. So when Thanksgiving came, and they sat there mocking me, laughing at me, reducing me to nothing, they had no idea I was already holding everything that could destroy them. I didn't act immediately. That would have been emotional. Messy. Predictable. Instead, I waited. And then I made one call. 2 weeks later, Norvale Distribution initiated a full internal investigation. Auditors came in. Accounts were frozen. Access logs were pulled. Emails were flagged. By the end of that week, subpoenas followed. Alistair was the first to panic. I knew because I saw the internal logs. Late-night access attempts. Deleted files. Sudden transfers. Too late. Everything had already been backed up. My aunt tried a different approach. She started calling people, pulling favors, trying to shut things down quietly. But once legal gets involved, quiet is no longer an option. My father? He underestimated it. At first, he thought it was just a routine audit. Until they showed him the numbers. The connections, the proof. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, my phone started ringing. I didn't answer. Not the first call. Not the 10th, not the 50th. By the time it hit 142 missed calls, I finally picked it up. It was my father. His voice wasn't confident anymore. Son, Please answer me. I didn't mean any of that. I didn't respond. He kept going. We can fix this, whatever this is. We can fix it. Fix it? That word almost made me laugh. My mother called next, crying. It was just talk, please. We're still your family. Family? Now they remembered. Then my brother. For the first time in his life, he sounded small. Bro, this has gone too far, pick up. I let them talk. All of them one by one. Then I said something they weren't expecting. You should have stopped at Thanksgiving. Silence. Real silence this time. You thought I was nothing, I continued calmly, so I let you believe it. You laughed while sitting on money you stole. And now you want sympathy? My father tried to interrupt. Callan. No, I cut in. You don't get to talk over me anymore. What came next wasn't revenge in the way people imagine. No shouting, no insults, just consequences. By the time Christmas arrived, my brother had been formally charged. His accounts frozen, his future uncertain. My aunt lost everything she tried to protect. Reputation, connections, all gone. And my father, the man who raised a glass to call me his greatest disappointment, was now sitting across from lawyers, trying to explain years of fraud he thought no one would ever notice. They asked me to help, to speak on their behalf, to fix things. I didn't. On Christmas morning, I finally saw them again. Not around a dinner table, but in a quiet room, stripped of pride, stripped of laughter, stripped of everything they used to measure worth. My father looked at me first. Not with arrogance, not with pride, but with something I had never seen before. Regret. You were right, he said quietly. I looked at all of them one by one, and for the first time in my life, they didn't laugh. I didn't ruin anything, I said calmly. You just finally got exposed. And that was the moment they understood. Not everything lost can be taken back. Not every word can be undone, and not every silence means weakness. Some silence is just someone waiting for the right time to end everything. My father's words stayed in the air longer than they should have. You were right. For a second, I almost believed him. But then I looked at my brother. Not regret or fear. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry he got caught. My mother was crying, holding on to something that didn't exist anymore. The version of this family she thought she could still save. And my aunt? She couldn't even look at me. That's when I understood something clearly. They weren't asking for forgiveness. They were asking for escape. I'm not here to save you, I said calmly. My father's face dropped slightly. Callan, we're still your family. I shook my head slowly. You remembered that too late. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a small envelope, placing it on the table. My brother frowned. What's that? Everything you need to understand how this ends. Inside were documents, final reports, legal confirmations, asset freezes, and one detail they didn't expect. I had already secured my position, not just as the analyst who exposed them, but as the lead consultant brought in to help restructure what was left of Norvale Distribution, which meant one thing. I wasn't just the one who exposed them, I was the one deciding what came next. My brother's voice cracked. You planned this? I looked at him. No, I said quietly. You did. The room went still. I just stopped protecting you. That hit harder than anything else I could have said. Because it was true. Every excuse, every time I stayed quiet before, every moment I let things slide. That's what built their confidence. My mother stepped forward slightly. Can't we fix this? Together? I paused. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because I wanted them to feel it. There is no together anymore. My father sat down slowly, like the weight of everything had finally caught up to him. You said I was your greatest disappointment. I continued, my voice steady. I think the only mistake I made was believing you were better than this. No one spoke. I picked up my jacket again. Same way I did at Thanksgiving, but this time, no one laughed. As I reached the door, my brother's voice came again. Smaller, broken. Callan, please. I didn't turn back. Before Christmas, I said, I told you all something. I opened the door. And I keep my word. I stepped outside into the cold. The air sharp, clean, nothing like the weight inside that room. For the first time in a long time, I felt something close to peace. 3 months later, the case was closed. Charges finalized. Sentences pending. My father lost everything he built. My brother lost the future he bragged about. My aunt disappeared from every circle she once controlled. And me? I didn't go back, not to that house. Not to that table. Some people think revenge is loud, explosive, messy. But the truth is, the most effective kind of revenge is quiet. It's letting people believe you're nothing, right up until the moment they realize you were the one holding everything together. And when you finally let go, everything falls apart. People only apologize when consequences finally catch up. What would you have done in my place? Please drop your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories. Thank you.